Bases and Balls with Guardians broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus in Chicago this week. This weekend, they've got the White Sox. Then they go to Texas. But, Jim, let's go back to Wednesday night in Rocchio with the walk-off hit, I should say, in the afternoon. And this is a young man who's been thrown in to a very good baseball team and the everyday shortstop as a young guy. And I know in talking to you off season, you were excited about him coming in. He'd had a good off season. Talk about Brayan Rocchio right now, a couple of months in.
Yeah, I won the job in spring training, albeit both he and Gabriel Arias did not have good springs, but they felt they saw enough in him and also his background that he would be the guy to start the season. And as you would expect with a young player, a rookie, there have been some ups and downs, Ray. And but you see enough of the good stuff like we saw on Wednesday, where there's some real confidence there that as time goes by, he'll become more consistent. And when you look at Wednesday's game, the walk-off is obvious, walk-off base hit to win a ball game. That's great. Had another base hit earlier in the game. Had a tremendous defensive play, one of those diving stops, and then a throw to first on one hop to get the base runner. And a really heads-up play in the 10th inning when Javi Baez was the base runner at second to start the inning. And there was a ground ball hit to Rocchio, and for whatever reason, Baez was creeping off the bag just enough, and Rocchio threw back and got him. And that was a huge play to keep the Tigers off the board. So he contributed in so many ways on Wednesday. And obviously he's not going to do that every night, but they're seeing it more and more from him, and that's exciting.
Rosie, let me ask you this, and I know you don't have the crystal ball or anything, but the Guardians also are a franchise that has a surplus of young middle infielders coming up through, and Rocchio's one of those guys. Have you seen, and I know we're only 2 months in, is this a guy you feel good about going way forward with him at shortstop, or are they still keeping one eye on what else they have over here?
Well, I think they'll always do that because of injuries, trades, all that kind of stuff. You just don't know. But I think they're excited to see how he can grow and get better, because there's something there that they like that indicates that we haven't seen yet, and that's exciting. And the one thing, Ruglis Odor, who your fans know obviously for managing the Rubber Ducks for years, he saw him, both managed him and then also just in spring training, and he said, look, it might be a little bit before he gets going. His track record has been when he has worked with him that it takes him a little while to get going, but he'll learn. He's a quick study, and he'll develop. And what he is at the end of the season will be a lot better than what he is at the beginning of the season. So be patient, and you really like what you see. So there's some confidence there from the coaching staff, certainly, and the front office too.
Guardians broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus with us, bases and balls, and what that has done too. And we've talked a lot about David Fry and the versatility with everything he can do. It has enabled Stephen Vogt, and I'll let you elaborate here, taking Gabriel Arias, and we've seen him at a number of different positions, and his bat, especially against lefties, has been potent for us. So it's enabled manager Stephen Vogt to be versatile with him.
Yeah, and it was amazing, Ray, in that game on Wednesday. There was an inning when late in the game, when the Guardians were at bat between pinch hitters and pinch runners, it jumbled everything. And when they took the field in the top of the next inning, there were only 3 positions that stayed the same. 5 had to move because of all the different, but it gave him that opportunity. He can sit there and be Dr. Frankenstein, during when they're on offense and figure stuff out and not worry about how he's going to be covered defensively, because he has all these guys who can move around, and obviously Fry's a key because he can catch, but Arias is part of that too. And the fact he can play infield and outfield helps.
Sounds like you and I in our days playing Stratomatic baseball together, moving all those positions.
It sure does.
Hey, Carlos Carrasco, good outing the other day. And of course, this is our veteran, and maybe getting more out of him than we thought initially because of the injuries. Talk about what you've seen from Cookie the last couple of starts.
Yeah, it's getting a little better. And look, he's a lot closer to the end than he is to the beginning, and he knows that. and he's trying to work with stuff that's not the same as the last time he was here 3 years ago with pitching for Cleveland. And so he is trying to figure out how to do it a little bit differently. But it's interesting talking to Carl Willis. He says, look, the fastball doesn't have the raw velocity, but he still wants him to use it. And that'll set up the other stuff because his breaking stuff is still really good. And he has that good changeup. So he's kind of trying to figure out how to pitch differently than he did the last time he was here. And that takes a little bit. And maybe it's starting to click in because the last time out was good. They'll need him to continue to be at least a little more efficient to try and get deeper into games. And he did that the last time. And goodness knows they need some of that because the bullpen has been stressed.
Hey, before I let you go, Chicago playing much better baseball than when we saw them a couple of weeks. They're starting to get some wins together. Still a real young team that's had their problems, but getting better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you would think they hit their low point. For the folks here, that's what they're hoping for sure. And it was a real low point to start the season, but they've steadied the ship. They had a sweep of Tampa Bay here in Chicago, and they just got done playing the Rays down there. They played well against St. Louis last weekend. So this will not be, they're the only team below 500 in the division. So I'm sure everyone else is thinking, well, we got to go in and punish them and really put up put up some wins when you play them. But it's not always a given. And again, as you said, they're playing a lot better and they have some good young arms. So it's not going to be an easy weekend.
All right, Rosie, thanks for making some time for us in Chicago. We'll enjoy the calls continuing this weekend. Appreciate it with bases and balls. We'll hook up again next Friday.
You got it, Ray.